friends, now on to the cutting part. In this section, I'm just going to do the cutting for all of my dashboards. I am not going to punch any holes, do alterations, add decorations, add hole reinforcers. I'm just going to cut my pages to size to fit my planner. Now, as I mentioned before, I want to use the Elizabeth Craft Designs Planner Essentials dies for the inside pages of my planners, like for the pages between the dashboards, between the monthly dashboards. So of course the dashboards need to be the size of the Elizabeth Craft Designs planner dies. Now, just to show you, I have a page die over here. This is called, wait a second, it's not Planner Essentials number 38, the splatter page. Comes with a bunch of other dies. And this is just to show you, this is a die that would cut these splatters out of your paper as well, if you so wish. There are different types of base pages. There are pages with tabs, there are half pages, there are just overlays that you could use as a shaker element, for example. This is, well, the splatter page, and it cuts these splatters. I'm not going to use it today. I just wanted to show you one of these die sets so that you know what I'm actually talking about. And of course, all the dies for the pages will punch the holes to fit the die into, or the page into your planner. Now, to make life easier for myself, I used a regular base page, just a base page without any tabs or any decorative elements. And I cut this from a cutting mat like you would use in the kitchen for chopping fruits and vegetables. It is a plastic material, and the great advantage is that it's see-through, so if I want to determine where I want a page to land on my paper, I can just use this as a template to kind of figure out where my cutting has got to be. The base page die will not cut through this cutting mat material. It will just leave an indentation that you can then follow with your scissors. I ran this through my machine, about my Big Shot machine, I would say about 3 times, and then I could easily just follow around this indentation, as you can see here, with my scissors. So for January, I want my page to land about here. You can see over here. Oh, by the way, I need to tell you the measurements, of course. Now, these Elizabeth Craft Designs base page planner dies are sized 4 3/4 wide to 8 1/4 in height, which is an A5 piece of paper, height-wise, not width-wise, but height-wise. And so this is obviously the size I'm going to cut. And as you can see here, I'm trying to line this up. Here is a frame, and the area around the frame is slightly lighter than the real background, the black background. So I can pretty much see where I want the top of my page to land, because I want it inside this lighter area. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So I want the center of my butterfly to later be the center of my page. So let me just check this. The center of my butterfly falls at the 3-inch mark. So if I want it to be in the center of my page later, I have to add half of the width to the right side of the butterfly to determine the right edge of my final page. So that means that I have to add 2 3/8. That lands me at 5 3/8 later on. So line that up here, 5 3/8. Now I don't want to cut through this blue part over here. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna chop that off first, just to make sure nothing happens to that. And I like this trimmer for precise cuts like these, because with this string part you can really nicely see where your cut is going to be. Okay, so put this aside and don't toss anything. I'm going to keep every little piece, every bit I'm going to cut off of this paper, I'm going to throw in a pile and keep for later, because I might need it or might want to use it later on. So now I want to cut about, let my head get in the way of the camera, about here. So am I still at 5 3/8? Yeah. Oops, move that up, and I'm going to cut about here. This will be the bottom line. Okay, so now I want to see where my top edge is going to fall. That is exactly here. And cut just up to the point where the lines meet, about here. And for the bottom, I'm just going to make my cut at 8 1/4. 8 1/4. Oops, is that correct? Yeah, from the right side in. So, and just down to where the lines meet. Don't go any further. Okay. Here I missed a spot in the corner. I'm just gonna use my scissors for that. This side is okay, so it's this piece I have to get out. Just like that. And now I'm gonna cut the right side off, and I'm going to line my paper up at 4 3/4 to get the width of my paper, or of my page, I should say. 4 3/4, line it up, and there's my page for January. Size is okay. Okay, put that in a pile. And let's move on to February. Okay, my note page tells me I want to cut off this bottom strip again. So line that up. Cut. Take it off. And then I want to have the month centered, and this is going to be the bottom edge of my page. So that means that will probably again be like 3 inches. Yeah. So no, not quite. 2 7/8. So 2 7/8 at 2 3/8, that gives me 5 1/4. This time I'm going to cut from the bottom up. 5 1/4. Take this as a guide to tell me how high I have to cut. And just slice up here till about here. And we need to line it up at 8 1/4 to get the height. Oops. Cut. Am I there yet? Yeah. And now line it up at the 4 3/4 mark again to get the width. Done. February. So next up is March. Now for that I'm going to use one of the 8x8 pieces of paper, and I am just going to slice this in half, so it's 8x8. I'm going to cut it down at 4 inches. And you may think, okay, she's doing a mistake right now. But I want to keep this half of the page intact, and later on I'm going to add a binding strip over here so that this is a full page in the end with the 4 3/4 of an inch width. And I might do something to cover this strip up, but actually it just says life is abundant in March, so this could stay there as well. So my March page is cut. This goes into the keep for later pile. For April, I want the left side centered again. Oh, and I want to cut this strip off again as well. I don't know why, but sometimes I prefer cutting from the bottom up. Line it up nicely. Put that aside. So this is going to be the bottom edge of my page, which means, let me just check for the center again. That is at 3 inches, so 5 3/8. And I'm going to go up to about here. And then I'm going to line it up again at 8 1/4. This time I'm going to cut from the bottom down. Oops, nicely line it up. And cut to where the lines meet. And then again, just cut it down to 4 3/4 in width. Okay, that is my April. Now on to May. Okay, here I want to line the bottom up with the bottom of this 2-cent stamp. So let me, line this wire piece up, and I'm going to just hit the inside of this stamp image. So the inside frame. And width-wise, yeah, I'm going to be okay. Like this. Yeah, okay. So, to make life easier, I'm going to first line this cut up at my 8 1/4 mark. 8 1/4, where are you? Over here. And cut from the top down. Again, like this. And I'm just using this template to really eyeball where my cuts have to go. I'm not being super precise here. And this star tells me where the center is very nicely. Okay, that is a little bit less than 2 7/8. That means I'm going to cut at a little bit less than 5 1/4. 5 1/4. Okay, a little bit less, just a hair. And I'm going to start at this line and end at my bottom cutting line down here. Okay. Okay, I'm stuck in the corner again. Just use my scissors to trim that. And now cut it down again to 4 3/4. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Chop. Oh, that's pretty. On to June. That's again an 8x8, and as before, I'm just going to cut it in half, so I want to keep the right half for my page. So line it up and cut it 4 inches. Same for July, but here I'm going to keep the left side. Again, 4 inches. For August, I am going to center this image again, so just to make sure I know where the center is, I'm lining it up with this star image here, so that's again 2 7/8. That means I'm going to cut it 5 1/4, and I'm going to cut off this blue strip first, because that black edge is going to be the bottom edge of my page. So 5 1/4, as I said before. And where's my helper? Here. Just cut up to about here. Line it up at 8 1/4. Oops. Excuse me, I dropped it. There we go. Here it is. Okay. I don't know why I'm always sliding my blade out like that. Okay, here is my 8 1/4 mark. Cut to where my lines meet. Am I there yet? Oh. Now I am. And then cut it down to 4 3/4. Again. Oops. Okay. August is done. Next up, September. Again, my bottom is going to be that black edge over there, so I want to line that up, or cut that colorful edge off first. It's getting harder and harder to see because it's getting dark outside. Just going to check my star again. 3 inches. That means I'm going to cut at 5 3/8. Am I doing this right? Huh. Okay, I want to actually have my cut on the inner edge of that frame. That's what my, let me check. Inner edge, is that better? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I'm going to start about here. Put this here next to me. Oops, don't slide around. And cut up to here. Okay. Now I want to hit the inner edge of that frame. Does that look right? Wow, this is hard to see now. Okay, I think I'm here. Just cut up to the other line. Didn't make it 100%, so I'm just going to snip this over here. And okay, now this has to get turned around so that I can find my 8 1/4 height of the page. Okay, got that one. And now the width is going to be trimmed to 4 3/4 again. Done. Okay, that one was hard. October. Okay, here I want to do the same thing and line it up with the inside of the inside top of this frame, really. So, and the image should be centered again. So just check a little bit less than 3 inches. Tiny bit less. Okay, so that's gonna be a tiny bit less than 5 3/8. 5 3/8 over here. And this is where my page will end. So, oh, I'm at a good starting point over here. Just cut up to here. Trim my piece of paper around. Now again, I want the inside of that frame, so carefully line it up. That's where I gotta go. And cut up to that line. Just snip this tiny little piece. Now this piece is going to be lined up at 8 1/4 again. Eight 1/4, yeah, and just cut down to where the lines meet. Okay, and cut the width 4 3/4. Perfect. Not 100% perfect, but it's okay. It's okay, I think. Yeah. Can I live with that? I think so. Okay. Last two, November. Okay, I'm going to use the left side again. And I want to align my page with this bottom corner, bottom inner frame of this 4-cent postage stamp. Oops. So I'm going to cut up to that corner over here. Line this up at 8 1/4 again. So the height of my page is determined. I guess I'm going to go up to the inner edge of the frame here. And then I want to line my paper up again with that hard to see color difference over here. I'm just gonna start here and move my way up. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm gonna adjust the width again to 4 3/4. Okay, and for December, I'm again later going to add a binding strip and using an 8x8 page. So for now, I'm just gonna cut it in half, top to bottom. And that was it. Okay, see you later.